So this next portion here, I believe that the U.S. is going to go through a third Great Awakening, right? Now, the third Great Awakening is a continuation of two things that happened in the past. The first Great Awakening happened in 1830s, and it's just like this huge spiritual thing. If you grew up in the South, you will have probably seen the campgrounds. They are all from the first Great Awakening, where a huge Christian surge happened. Second Great Awakening happened in the 1930s during the Depression, where all people turned to God. And now the third Great Awakening, of course, will come now in our 2030s or 2020s. And then after this, the Lord will call all the faithful into exile from America. For the Lord would not even destroy Babylon, would not destroy Sodom or Gomorrah if there were just 15 good men there. Chapter 18. And after these things I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and hold every foul spirit, and every cage, and every unclean and hateful bird. For all nations have drunk of her wine, and of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and merchants of the earth waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. And I heard another voice from heaven, saying, Come out of her, my people, that ye not be partakers of her sin, and that ye receive not her plagues. For her sins have reached unto heaven, and God hath remembered her iniquities. Reward her, even as she hath rewarded you, and double unto her, according to the works in the cup, which she hath filled, fill her double. Now, my nation might be a nation under God, in God we trust, but it is quickly moving away from that, and will become something very different soon. Give to Caesar what is Caesar's, remember that always, for this world is not ours. How much she hath glorified herself, and lived deliciously, so much torment and sorrow give her, for she saith in her heart, I sit a queen, and I am no widow, and shall see no sorrow. Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death, and mourning, and famine, and she shall be utterly buried with fire. For strong is the Lord God who judgeth her. And the kings of the earth who have have committed fornication, and lived deliciously with her, shall bewail her, and lament for her, when they see the smoke of her burning. Now this just means that they will cry out in sorrow and such, standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, Alas, alas, the great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is the judgment come. I personally believe that the reference here to the smoking and such will be nuclear war. And the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buyeth their merchandise any more. The merchandise of gold, silver, and the precious stone, and of the pearls and fine linen, and purple, and silk, and scarlet, and fine wood, and all manner of vessels of ivory, and all manner of vessels of the most precious wood, and brass, and iron, and marble, cinnamon, and odors, and ornaments, frankincense, and wine, and oil, and fine flour, and wheat, beasts, and sheep, and horses, and chariots, and slaves, and the souls of the men. Now there's only one nation on earth that has all of these things. Now mind you, this is written from a perspective of somebody just in like 70 AD or such. So this is probably just about everything you could buy in a store at that time. But there's much more now, of course. And the fruits that the soul lusted after are departed from thee, which all things which were dainty and goodly have departed from thee, and thou shalt find them no more at all. Jumping back to this real quick, in America is the one of the only countries in the world where you were able to, at one point at least, buy and sell slaves, and the souls of men are bought and sold in this nation. Now, clearly, I believe this to be America because of this heavy fixation on money and merchants and selling things. For America is a nation of wealth for wealth, and all an American cares about seems to be his money. Vanity of vanities. The merchants of these things which made richer by her shall stand afar for fear of her torment, weeping and wailing, and saying, Alas, alas, the great city, clothed in fine linen and purple and scarlet, decked with gold and precious stones and pearls. For 1 hour so great riches is to come not, and every shipmaster and every company of ships and sailors, as many as trade by the sea, stood afar, and cried when they saw the smoke of her burning, saying, What city is like unto the great city? Now, I clearly think this to be being destroyed by nuclear weapons. Not sure if this is self-inflicted or not, but all of our allies and all of those throughout the world might cry for their wallets, but they will not cry for our burned skin and lost lives. And they cast dust. They cast dust on their heads, and cried weeping and wailing, saying, Alas, alas, the great city wherein made rich all that ships in the sea by reason of her coastness, and for 1 hour she is made desolate. Now this focus on ships and such also makes me think of America, because we have the biggest navy in human history. There's never been more ships ever owned by anybody than the amount of ships the American government owns now. Rejoice over her, thou heaven and holy apostles and prophets, for God hath avenged you on her. And a mighty angel took up a stone like a great millstone and cast it into the sea, saying, Thus the violence shall be the great city of Babylon, thrown down, shall be found no more at all. Now, millstone in the Bible is actually, I believe, a reference to militaries and such. Now, when it says that great millstone cast into the sea, saying, Thus with violence shall the great city Babylon be thrown down. For those who live by the sword will die by the sword. And America has invaded more nations than any other that I can know of. Just in my lifetime, we've invaded Bosnia, Herzegovina, Serbia, Croatia. We invaded Afghanistan, invaded Iraq illegally, with so many nations of the UN opposing that, and sent troops into Syria and Libya when we weren't supposed to. I believe we had put troops in Yemen, and we even went into Pakistan to kill Osama bin Laden, which were all in violation of UN law, which we made up. And the voice of the harpers and the musicians of the pipers and the trumpeters shall be heard no more at all in thee, and no craftsman of whatsoever shall craft he be, shall be found any more in thee, and the sound of the millstone shall be heard no more at all in thee. For all the things that America does will be wiped out. Only through nuclear hellfire could things be so awful. Yeah, I gotta make this video 4-parter. Because, dude, I don't know.